find more factual information, stuff that's more relevant to my life. Than I have found a New York Times. Thank you very much, lady. Appreciate the time. Democrats are moving forward with their massive China virus relief package, with or without Republicans. So much for unity. Is that
Hey, what's up, guys? Well, it's cold outside, 23 degrees, and now the news is on. I decided to come back here and get in bed and just watch movies all day. Well, I guess I'll get up and I'll cook a dinner or something. I don't know. Maybe go out to eat, do something. Yeah. Hope you guys are having a blessed day. I was just lazy today. Wow. I'll tell you one thing. It's good to have an option where you can just stay home and not really do anything, just chill. So, wow. I had thought about, guys, what's going on. I'm not thinking about anything right now. You guys are not here yet, so I'm not saying it until you get here.
What these people thought. But the truth is, a slow metabolism can be created by a condition called insulin resistance. Once you have insulin resistance, fat becomes trapped inside your body and becomes very difficult to lose, even if you crash diet. But now there's a solution to insulin resistance. It's a completely new way.
I'm so tired of that phone, guys. Really, I am. God dang it. Jesus. I'm not happy. Anybody need me to know myself on this thing? Think about it.
Smarter way to lose weight and get healthy without starvation diet. Golo allows you to step off the yo-yo dieting merry-go-round and obtain lasting results just like these people have.
I lost 75 pounds.
Head to Golo.com now. That's GOL.com. Go lose weight. Go look great.
The statutory
Average and no.
On January 22nd and was fighting pneumonia. His family said he had not been vaccinated due to other medication he was taking. Moore had been receiving treatment for prostate and skin cancer. Buckingham Palace said Queen Elizabeth will send a private message.
Doing well, man. Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, the pleasure's ours. Could you tell us a little bit about your work?
So at Brandon, we characterize our work as shining a light on the least of these, the cities that are prosperous, that have booming economies, but for some reason they have faces at the bottom of the well that aren't.
To include different groups.
Blackburn is a
When he was coming up, people talk about me being small all the time, but that he's I've been in spike limits for a few more before, so it's not.
Okay.
Where
Yes, I know.
I like that story. They could have pulled the trigger on the three, didn't do it. Robertson's been much more active these last few minutes. Got a full step down low. Felix running. Oh, what? 8 seconds.
How long is the recovery different from regular?
Hey, what, man? Just a great all-round.
Don't go see Buster, my man. Yes.
It was just one of those days that come out on top. Not being able to do the skull buster again is a bit of a bummer, but all in all, it's one of the best experiences of my life.
Get another crack at Hunter. Ian just ragged on one of the most lethal athletes in the world. That's badass. Walk off his way into the sunset. It's been a hell of a day here at the Broken Skull Ranch. 2 bracket champions. 1 skull buster.
Hey, y'all want to see Mr. Beagle? Y'all see the men home now. I can chill at. No, you won't. We eat fries? You ain't no your channel dogs or else you a man. He wants some meat. There was a goddamn meat. He ain't them damn fries. I could eat them fries. I could have him too. He wants some meat. Yeah, he end up eating it later though. He just wants some meat. He ain't hungry. We gonna eat all damn day long. Oh, that's what he's sleeping. Yes, that too. Oh my God. I just gave my baby yesterday. Damn. Got down in them swamps trying to find the Bigfoot. He was barking all last. I think he barking at Bigfoot last night. What was it? Yeah, Mr. Big. Look, tell him running. Tell them Mr. Bigfoot out there in the woods, y'all. Y'all think I'm lying? Look at them damn woods out there. Look out there, y'all. Ain't nothing there. Yep. Yeah, you're drinking water, ain't it? Beautiful scenery. You ain't gonna get in there, see. I know y'all gonna get this shit out my motherfucking floor, goddammit. Hey, get your, oh, your devil is alive. You trying to jump in the sea? Well, get in there and take a fucking bath. Where you going, Mr. Beagle? You trying to hang out with his daddy? You trying to hang out with daddy? I'm trying to hang out with my dad. Mom, I'll talk to you later. It's a boy thing. You wouldn't understand. Well, fuck it, I'm going to bed. Let y'all talk. Yeah, that is his spot, ain't it?
Get up, go. That's kind of dig it out.
Yeah.
Looking out, man.
Looking out, man. What'd you say? Hey, what's the two in the building? What's going on, y'all? Yeah, we're gonna be doing pretty much a live streaming all the next 24, 72, I don't know, 96 hours. Trying to push for this $1,000. $1,000, 4,000 watch hours, and also trying to, get more subscriptions and give you a little bit more of my house and reality. I'm a reality channel about life. Yeah. You guys, today was a wonderful day. I pretty much just didn't do nothing. Not do anything. I trying to figure out how to get to my subscribers, so I can find out the new ones. I'm got this new YouTube buddy, the extension where it just shows you every subscription that you have. And I got about 2,600. Oh my God, I got to go through that, honey. And then the subscribers, I just try to do that every other day. I don't do it every day. Yeah, I like to build up and knock it out all at one time. So I'm pretty much uploading every day, live streams. I don't know. I'm gonna probably do less of live streams and more after action reviews. Like I do series, and after that I'll do a live stream. I'll do a series and a live stream. That's what I'm doing right now. Because right now we are on the search tonight. We'll probably leave here another hour. We got to go find Bigfoot. And then somebody said that there was somebody named Squalamina that's down there at the prison camps, old abandoned prison camp. This ghost, she's always, coming out between the hours of 7 and 12 midnight. So check that out. And then we got the cemetery down there by Jacobs Creek Island down there. We want to check that out. So I got like 7 different things people asking me to do here in North Carolina, in this area where I live at. And then I got 3 more. So tonight about around 9, we're going to go do some exploring for Bigfoot, man. Man, I'm telling you, I got up this morning, man. I was so doggone scared. I didn't know what to do. I went outside to get in my car, right? And the door was magically open. I was like, Miss Eagle, what's wrong? Because I thought, maybe I left the door. But my car is, it needs to be fixed. So it's just been sitting there for the last, 3 weeks because I had it towed. And, like I told you guys, I took it to Walmart and they didn't put no oil in it. So they're going to pay me, no problem. But the problem is, I'm sitting out there, guys, and basically what happened was the door was wide open. So I'm like, is that Bigfoot? I said, Ronnie, is that Bigfoot? He was like, no. Mr. Big was like, "Arr, arr." He was barking all night, guys. I don't know what the hell he be barking at. So my neighbor said, might be Bigfoot in the area. I've been looking for him for the last 2 weeks. Like I said, somebody pulled down all my damn Valentine's Day stuff. And I'm thinking maybe it is Bigfoot at night. Says like 7 feet, 8 feet tall. Man, I said, I got to talk Uncle John, but I know he wouldn't, pull the stuff off. So, yeah, we're going to look for that ass. And when I find Bigfoot, I'm going to slap the dirt off him. Why you take my dog on Valentine's stuff on my thing? I put hard work. Y'all see what the Valentine's Day? I had to take it off and put it down there. Y'all see that? But Mr. Beagles, he wants some of y'all time. Y'all, he want to sit there and let y'all see how fine cute he is. There you go over in the chair. Laying over there. Anyway, I'm gonna let the boys take over. I'm going in the back. Y'all watching some TV. Yeah, I'm watching these good movies on Roku. Armageddon. And we gotta go and we're going to explore now. Yeah. Ooh. Man, Mr. Beagle. I ain't ready to go yet. Shoot. I didn't see where our news first do. Go down and go down there and get that paper there from me. Derek might have something. I'm going to go by Richie. We need something that bad. What you gonna do then? How am I gonna do it? Go get all right. Come on back.
What we got? Mr. Bigger? I got to go get a paper. Yeah. Got to put a bug out on that foot like. Huh? Come on, you want to? Huh? All right, I'm going. Yeah, I go. I'll be right back.
What impact this is going to make moving forward remains to be seen. Back to you. Long lines today at vaccination sites. Cars, you can see here stretched around North Argyle High School today. 500 people got to get their shot. This is first come, first serve, which is why so many people lined up. County finding out why to get their second dose today. The county scheduling times here by last name. And soon there will be another option for people who are eligible.
Yes, and Jill Meistermeyer Lewis's live force now with a new location that will start to give out shots later on this month.
Miss Bingo.
People want to be able to walk in their neighborhood down to their local pharmacy or to their local Walgreens to get vaccinated, meaning they're not going to have to jump through all of those hoops to go to
Mr. Bingo.
Vaccination site. Now we're learning county health department leaders say that several hundred Walgreens across the state will be vaccinating people starting next week. I've reached out to Walgreens today and they tell me they will start February 12th, which is next Friday. Now, here are the rules. You must buy, this is by appointment only. They will start vaccinating people in groups 1 and 2. And Walgreens says they will have 31,000 doses statewide. But County Health Director Kitty Harris says there is one big question that remains: which locations will provide the vaccines?
We don't have the list of Walgreens at this point. The vaccine it's not a huge amount, but it's better than what we've been receiving.
Bingo. Oh.
Now, Walgreens tells us this evening that we're going to have to register right on their website. Also, the vaccine that they are receiving is actually going to be separate.
I'm gonna let Mr. Beagle go to sleep. Yeah. I'm going back and watch a documentary in the bedroom, guys. It's about the vampires. And yes, I do have hair, guys. My hair is in a ponytail. Normally it just be flipped up, but when I'm chilling home in the bed in my pajamas, y'all see Mr. Beagle jumping, playing musical chairs. This is what he does. He goes from this chair to that chair over there. He does it in a 360. You guys see me live streaming. I thought it was kind of unique. It was unique. I got homework to do tonight, guys, so they're gonna be late in the wee hours when I do it because I'm caught up in these vampire movies and stuff. So, you know, if you guys say something, I can see you right on the heater. I'm gonna keep the volume on because these right here are movies that I ordered off Roku, however you say it. And there we go. Yeah, so if you guys say anything, I'll see you.
On archaeological sites, the best part of the excavation is when somebody shouts out loud, "I found something," everybody can look. And as the skeleton was being uncovered, it was very, very clear that, yeah, there was this large stone stuck in the mouth. Visually, it's a very dramatic sort of image.
None of the team had ever found anything like it before. But then there was another discovery.
You always expect to find something unexpected on an excavation, but then when we found a second one, and in the exact same area, we knew we had something that was special.
I didn't check my emails, dang. I must got like 700 emails I didn't check. From friends and subscriptions and people that support me on this channel. Thank you so much, guys. I promise I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna take a nap, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Checking my emails, check the people that subscribe to me, make sure I'm subscribed to them, go by some of your pages. I probably do like, I don't know, I try to do like, go at least and see about at least 15, 20 channels when I do have time a day, but sometimes you can't, I don't give a damn, we all ain't no Superman, and ain't no Superwoman on YouTube. You can't see everybody's channel in one day. It takes time, it really does. 2 people in the building. Thank you for stopping by. Y'all looking at my beautiful self, then welcome to CPD, Carolina Diamonds Production, CDP. That's me, Stacey Lee. Right now, guys, I'm watching a documentary. I'm not going to show you guys because I want a claim strike. But when you're talking about finding these bodies of vampires, real vampires, listen, it's interesting. I wish I could show it to you, but I don't want to get, you know, a copyright claim. Just trying to get my watch time out. I think it's better for me to just, you know, I hate going to somebody's live stream. I do it, you know, because you know when you try to get your watch time out, that's what you do. You just live stream silently. You do whatever. I said, well, why not just do reality? I'll do everything except 2 things. I'm not going to be nude in here, and you ain't going to see no Triple X mess in here. Other than that, we'll be rolling until I get 1,000. So, I've been live streaming. Good God Almighty, I'll have it by the end of the month. I'll give myself 2 months and I'll have it. But really, the reason why I leave my camera on all the time is because real friends pass through. Instead of me waiting for them to call, you know, this is a secure way for me to see them. Let them stop by and see me. And if they want me in their account or whatever, then I write it down on the calendar, you know, because they're busy just as well as I am. And then, you know, we can collaborate. So I should be putting all these things in the chat, but y'all, I'm so lazy. You know, when it's cold outside, you just want to stay in bed and watch TV, sip on your little wine, and just marinate, you know. And I just ate all them chicken nuggets. I was supposed to be watching this. Let me hush. Ain't nobody talking to me, but I see 1 person in the building. And be cool, you guys, you know, come in and, you know, hit that like button, say something, leave a comment, say I stopped by, or you want me to play your playlist, you need some music, whatever I could do for you, just let me know. If you just want to watch, then go ahead and watch. But trust me, you're going to be listening to something interesting. Damn.
Could this explain the extraordinary Celtesian skeletons with the rocks in their mouths? Were they treated as people who might return from the dead? Dr. Katrina Mackenzie is an osteoarchaeologist specializing in bone analysis. She will examine the
So watching my reaction to vampires.
Explain why they will
See it? I want to see that. I got to deal with Bigfoot. I don't want to deal with no vampire Bigfoot at all. I'm running like a motherfucker. I think one of them things. Oh, good God.
Who lives and died long ago. And you're looking almost directly into the past. It's always really exciting when there is something unusual about the skeleton or about the burial position, because you just can't help but wonder what it was that happened in this person's life that meant that they were buried in a different manner.
Katrina has reassembled one of the skeletons with the stone found in its jaws.
This individual is a male individual. It's a young adult, which is probably between 30 to 35 years of age.
These bare bones can give us a glimpse of what this man might have been like.
Mr. Beagle! Come on, Mr. Beagle! Mr. Beagle! Come on! Come on! You can get up here. You can't. Okay. You sure? Come on. Come on. Come on. Yeah! Okay, booty.
Yeah, I've not seen anything.
Get your ass over, boy.
Could the skull itself reveal any further clues about why the body was treated so violently? When it was recovered from the earth, it was already in an extremely fragile state.
Mr. Beagle.
As the team cleaned and prepared it for analysis, they began to realize the extent of the
hound dog
damage.
ears. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. Oh, I don't know. What's up, Mr. Beagle? Now look, you gonna sit down, damn it. Go sleep. Go to sleep. Be sleep. Go to sleep. What's wrong, Mr. Beagle?
Mostly facial bones, which it would be near impossible to piece it all back together.
The past is not going to unlock its secrets easily for the Kiltetian archaeologists. Centuries may well have damaged the skull, but even graveyards that haven't been farmed or built on can yield skeletons in strange positions. At Berkeley in Gloucestershire, another cemetery is under excavation. Project leader Professor Mark Horton knows how easily bodies can shift from the position in which they were buried.
This is a fairly normal early medieval burial. You can see the bones are in the ground, the arm bone, the skull, and so forth. We just find it, we're cleaning it up at the moment. But how a body reaches this position is quite a complicated
Mr. Beagle.
Some bodies literally blow up underground as the gases are generated, and it's a confined space. And there's always people walking around churchyards, and you hear them going pop, pop as these bodies are exploding. Bones can go everywhere, if you like. In fact, here you can see probably the skull wasn't laid in that position, might have fallen over into that position. So when people discover bodies in the ground, they can be in all sorts of extraordinary positions. They're not necessarily how they've been laid down.
So could this explain the strange burials at Kiltetian?
Where you going?
Could the stones in the
What your ass doing?
have slipped in here by accident?
All right, Mr. Beagle.
Violent contortions during decomposition. Chris Reed is convinced this is not the.
You're going to sleep, Mr. Beagle.
It was very obviously intentional. This is not a stone.
My phone at Mr.
into
Beagle.
the mouth after the burial process.
You're my phone.
Completed or through later disturbance. It could only have gotten there if it was put in quite forcefully.
What the hell you going? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna get up. Let me get up.
Interesting because
Move. Move.
And it's a desk that they're trying to
What the hell?
come out. And that could be to stop a soul having left.
Where you going? Sit your ass down. Y'all want to see him? I swear, let me get y'all the light on my cell phone. This little big head. I'm gonna put you on blast, honey. Look at his little bad ass. Look at that gun. Now you better go somewhere. Oh, oh, jump, 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 jump. Look at her. Bad ass. Let's go, lads.
skeletons. So it was sort of lying out on this axis, which is not quite east-west, but northwest-southeast.
Oh, y'all guys see that? Oh my God, there, y'all.
With its feet slightly raised, just on one side of the ditch.
Okay, UFO in here.
Looking in this direction with that stone in the mouth.
Archaeologists use a special term for these strange burials in Ireland and elsewhere. They call them deviant burials.
Deviant means abnormal, anything that's particularly strange or uncharacteristic, not what you would expect from a Christian burial in this period. The Christian faith had a well-established canon of beliefs. You don't take objects with you. When the world ends, everyone will rise from their grave and face the rising sun, so that burials are orientated east to west. And because this was such a matter of conformity, I think when there's a deviation away from that expected pattern, it suggests some deliberate thought process has gone behind why you are doing something so abnormal.
All the evidence suggests that the deviant Celtician burials were treated as if the dead might return from the grave and become the medieval equivalent of vampires. Today, vampires have become entertainment, but in the 12th century, they were frighteningly real.
Medieval mind lived in a world of monsters and dragons. They believed in supernatural events. So the notion that the body could come back and be reanimated wasn't that strange. But actually, the ideas were very much fostered by the church. Because when the soul left the body, it went to a place called purgatory. And if the soul, the person, had left a particularly evil life, that soul would be tortured in the most horrendous fashion. And so the notion that it would escape from purgatory and come back to haunt the earth was a very powerful idea.
Chronicles and histories from the period recorded terrifying stories about the undead, as if they were true. Historian John Blair has come to St. Peter's Church in Stapenhill, near Burton-on-Trent. He's on the trail of a particularly chilling account, which demonstrates the reality of this fear.
The extraordinary story of the Stapenhill vampires begins when two peasants on Burton Abbey territory are poached by a Lord Mackay, and he persuades them to move to the village of Drakelow, which is just down the road.
The story is set in 1085, when the peasants were moving to a thriving community of several hundred people. But soon, their fortunes changed.
They come to a very nasty end because they die suddenly while they're eating, and they're buried here in this churchyard behind me. The next night, they're seen walking around, sometimes in the form of men with coffins on their backs, and sometimes in the form of animals. This must have been enormously frightening to these people, who clearly thought that they were confronted really with the living dead.
Historians call those who return from the grave revenants. In medieval times, it was believed they had terrifying powers to make animals and people fall sick and even die.
We get quite vivid accounts in the 12th century about revenants, and they are often returning to the place where they lived. And they are often waking up their neighbours at night and telling them to come out, or calling people they know by name. And then these people will mysteriously die of some plague in the few days after.
The villagers of Drakelow had no doubt that they were confronting the evil dead.
Everybody got so frightened that they moved away, and soon the village was almost deserted. The villagers got very worried about this, and they got permission from the bishop to dig the two peasants up. They found that the bodies were uncorrupt, but the cloths over their faces were stained with blood.
The villagers were terrified. They took the bodies from their coffins and beheaded them. Then they cut open the corpses and tore out their hearts.
They carried the hearts quite a long way, probably to this hilltop we're on now. It's not quite certain, but it's likely that it was this place which was later a beacon for warnings and signals, and may have been a place for executing criminals.
The dead villagers were treated as if they were still alive. They were executed as punishment for crimes they had committed after their deaths. It is said that 2 black crows rose and flew out of the smoke from the burning hearts. The thin veil between life and death could easily be crossed. Some were so fearful of returning as a revenant that they left detailed instructions on how to avoid it.
One of the very best descriptions we've got of the practice of revenant in the Middle Ages comes from here, from Berkeley in Gloucestershire. It's told by William of Malmesbury, one of the most reliable of the medieval chroniclers writing in the 12th century. And he describes a witch living here in the nunnery in the 1060s, who was so worried that her body was going to be reanimated after her death that she left very specific instructions that when she died, she should be sewn up in a stag skin, placed in a stone sarcophagus, and then that should then be wrapped around with 3 massive sets of chains and locks and buried in the ground. Well, what actually happened was that the body was placed in the ground, everyone did incantations for 3 days, but even that didn't stop the devil. According to the story, came in a black horse, dug up the body, broke the chains asunder and took the witch away to haunt this place forever after.
There are many other stories about the undead recorded by priests and chroniclers in the 12th century. Could the deviant Kiltetian burials date from the same time as these extraordinary stories? The Irish team are going to carbon date the 2 skeletons to find out. Samples will be sent off for analysis to discover just when these people died. These ancient beliefs in the undead have survived in literature and folklore for centuries. Even today, in parts of Central Europe, people guard against the possibility of the dead rising from the grave. Modern archaeology is reinforcing the reality of these as it reveals burials in which bodies have been staked, chained, and weighed down with heavy stones. But how did this fear evolve into what we recognize as the vampire, the blood-sucking creature that stalks our TV screens and our nightmares? How did a folk terror become a modern fascination? In December 1732, a team of Austrian military doctors was sent to investigate a disturbing series of deaths in a Serbian village, then part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. The doctors were led by a senior surgeon called Johannes Fluckinger.
Woman by the name of
Fluckinger would have been a highly trained surgeon for the period. Military surgeons were the best surgeons you could have. They were working at a very fast pace. They had more patients than any other surgeons could ever see, and they had to operate quickly and efficiently. So the training you would have had as a military surgeon would have been extremely high.
The villagers claimed that 17 people had died suddenly over a 3-month period, and that many of them had become vampires.
She is quite complete and undecayed.
Fluckinger meticulously recorded his observations. In this new age of science, he thought that the villagers' beliefs belonged to the medieval past.
She had herself said before her death that she painted herself with the blood of a vampire. Wherefore both she and her child, who died right after birth, must also become vampires.
Fluckinger's main mission would have been to quash any idea that vampires were real, and also to get to the bottom of what exactly was going on. One of the big concerns would have been for the authorities, was there an epidemic of some sort?
But as the coffins were opened one by one, Fluckinger's observations became more disturbing.
What he would have noted when he went inside the body was only 4 of them were decomposing naturally, or what he assumed was natural.
The new nails are evident, along with fresh and vivid skin.
All of these things didn't seem to be consistent with how he thought bodies should be decomposing.
Upon the opening of the body, there was revealed a quantity of fresh extravascular blood.
What the doctors were seeing contradicted their medical training.
Not, as is usual, filled with coagulated blood.
Modern medicine would recognize that these symptoms of vampirism were simply the normal process of decomposition.
Miller, 25 years old.
Bodies can seem to be plump and healthy because of gases swelling up in the dead tissue.
By the name of Militza.
Blood stains around the mouth are the result of stomach fluids leaking out.
She also was in a state of vampirism.
None of these bodies had been buried for more than 3 months, and that means that the first body would have been buried in September, allowing for a cold autumn. It's easy to imagine that the body would have stayed relatively well preserved.
Fluckinger's report into the vampire corpses was sent back to Belgrade and was seized on by the newspapers. The story exploded across Europe, fascinating thousands of readers and causing terror in many more.
This report got picked up by other sources, in particular by newspapers, which were read by other people in Europe, the intelligentsia of Europe, and it kind of spread, not just in Serbia, not just in the Austro-Hungarian Empire, but eventually all through Western Europe. Serbian reports of vampire, although they were localized, generated an extremely high level of fear. I think you could compare them best to modern rumor panics, where you get a kind of anomalous event, which is then linked on to kind of fears which are already in the population. But it's very, very intense, very, very real, and this is really what happened in Serbia.
In villages across Central Europe, a vampire hunt began. Graves of the recently deceased were opened, and the corpses were beheaded and often burnt. Were the same scenes played out in medieval Ireland, when the deviant burials were placed in their graves? Were these bodies feared as vampires? The terrifying tales from Eastern Europe inspired a series of best-selling novels that would take the vampire myth to the next level.
The vampire comes into European folklore and literature at the beginning of the 19th century, just very at the beginning. And again, it's through these translations of these descriptions of the 18th century. And the first time we really see it is Dr. Polidori, who is writing along with Byron and Mary Shelley at this wonderful sort of summer camp in Switzerland. And he takes this notion of the vampire and kind of turns it into the Byronic hero. He was actually thinking of Lord Byron. So this is the first major change. What had been really scary, foul vampires become really attractive, dangerous aristocrats.
In 1898, Bram Stoker transformed the idea of the dangerous dead into the sophisticated predatory vampire at the heart of so much film and fiction.
Now, come inside and experience the Dracula story.
Dracula was set partly in the Gothic ruins of Whitby Abbey, which Stoker explored during his holidays on the Yorkshire coast. He chose Whitby as the landing place for Dracula when the evil count first arrives in England.
And Stoker's sources were exactly these 18th century panics. And these had been written up, published, and translated. And by the time Stoker was writing, people were going to Eastern Europe. The tourist industry was well and truly established. And Stoker really knew about this kind of strange edge of Europe.
The superstitions that Stoker harnessed in writing Dracula are still alive in the 21st century. In parts of Central Europe, fear of the undead remains chillingly real. In Marotino de Sus, a small village in southern Romania, relatives take care to seal fresh graves by circling around them with incense. Villagers bring the deceased food to ensure they have everything they need for the journey into the next world. But sometimes the ritual precautions aren't enough. In 2004, 5 men went to the village cemetery to exhume the corpse of a man called Petra Toma, who had died recently. Toma's niece, Mirela Marinescu, claimed he had become a maroi, a Romanian word for the undead.
Da, eu îl vedeam în imaginație, se părea, deci umbra lui. Deci eu îl vedeam, deci și noaptea, deci să spui toți vecinii cum veneau și încă uite a fost și nora dânsului, deci multă lume. Deci cum o vedeam, deci și aveam așa, tremuram, deci...
Mirela believed that the maroi would kill her, so her husband asked farmer Ion Ionescu to help him in destroying the creature.
Hai să-l dezvoltăm, că e făcut moroi și că nevastă mea moare, Mirela. Înțelegi, nu? Să-mi mergem la cimitir. Dom'le, era un îngheț puternic de tot, puternic, dar puternic, nu așa. Deci când am cu târnăcopul să sărească întâi din târnăcopul în gheața aia, când am de a spart gheața la cimitir. Dar în rest, sângele era proaspăt, de aici așa, de la încheietura gurii până la ureche, în partea asta.
It's chillingly similar to the story of the Stapenhill vampires in England, recorded almost 1,000 years ago.
Mi-a băgat cuțitul și l-a despintecat de aici, așa, de la, scuzați-mă, nu știu cum să mai spun, până aici, așa, v-am o răi de dor. Zicem vecinul meu, dacă a sărit din groapă, de nu mai fi de aici cu pușca, din cimitir, de frică. Bine.
The villagers were going to destroy the maroi by cutting out the dead man's heart. On the first night, they couldn't find it, so they went back a second time. This time, they succeeded. They collected straw and dried corn husks to make a fire.
Și așa zicea că s-a ade la răscruci. Am pus cocinea sus, hai, le-am dat foc și inima s-a luat în furcă, ca așa să luam, în furcă, cea că să nu pui mâna pe ea. Am luat-o în furcă și când am pus-o acolo, domnule, și i-a făcut focul la flacăra aia și cum părea.
Petra Toma's daughter complained about the desecration of her father's body. The story went global.
It's state of the art. Nobody's making anything like this. Welcome to Apple Computer. The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
Nothing would survive, not even bacteria. The United States government just asked us to save the world.
I wasn't sure who your father was.
Operation Who's Your Daddy? She's our mom. All we did was cut. My God.
They used the head as a weapon. Tell the truth.
Even for Romanians who are born in towns who don't know these practices, when the whole story found out in the media, it was a very, very bad feeling that it was a scandal. Look here how primitive we can be. How come? What will say the strangers, Europeans, when hearing this kind of primitive practices.
The police were asked to investigate the desecration of Petra Thoma's corpse. But in most cases, these strange rituals are not reported to the authorities or anyone else.
In such remote and isolated villages like Marotin is, with people very old living in the community, such rituals are very well preserved, and they are carried out in order to let's say, protect somehow the community from such events like returning from dead can be. So you can still find it in remote rural communities, not only in Romania, but in the whole Balkan area, for example, in Serbia or in Bulgaria. It's something that people still do.
The beliefs in 21st century Romania seem identical to the fears in medieval England almost 1,000 years ago.
It is quite amazing the level of continuity that we can see in these beliefs in Europe across a very broad time span. And I think it shows that, you know, people feel not everything can be explained rationally. There is still space, even in modern society, for fear and superstition.
This deep-seated terror of the undead has lasted at least 1,000 years, from the Middle Ages to the present day. But could its roots in Ireland be even older? The archaeologists investigating the deviant burials found at Kilteetion are waiting for the results of carbon-14 dates, which will tell them when these individuals died. Chris Reed is on his way to the lab to get the results.
It's one of the treats for us archaeologists to actually get a date back. I suppose more than any other sort of bit of analysis, it allows us to do what we're supposed to do, which is put the site in some kind of chronological order. My own feelings is that it's early rather than later medieval, somewhere in the 8th, 9th century. That would be what I would be thinking, and I like being right, so I hope that's what it is.
It will be remarkable if Chris can trace this fear of the vampire dead back several centuries before the earliest medieval accounts. Two weeks after the samples were taken from the deviant burials, the carbon-14 dates are now in.
The results were actually emailed to me last night from the company in Miami, and just going to have a look here. Right, okay. It looks like both of the burials date to anywhere from the late 7th century to the 9th century, and both of the dates seem to overlap in the middle of the 8th century. So anywhere from about 720 to 750, 760.
So the Irish skeletons with the stones in their mouths were buried at least 300 years before the stories of the undead in England. Remarkably, there are records from the same period suggesting that the fear of revenants and vampires was common.
One of the fascinating things about the dating of those burials is that they fit very well with the Irish penitential texts that were written in that period. So we've got one of these penitential texts from probably the 7th or 8th centuries. It's called the First Synod of St. Patrick. And one of the things it describes in there is about the fear of the living dead. So it says that anybody who believes in vampires should be put outside the church. What that actually shows was that there was a lot of people who believed in something like vampires in Ireland. This is a fascinating example of where you've got archaeology matching up very well with our historical sources.
But why would this fear have been so powerful in this period? John Blair believes that the arrival of Christianity may have triggered a wave of phobia.
Anthropologists have shown that when old established belief systems get disrupted by the appearance of monotheism, by Christianity or Islam or Buddhism, but very often they can take curious forms. Now, an obvious possible context for that would be 7th century England, with the conversion of the kings and then the kingdoms to Christianity between about 600 and about 660. And here's very interesting that a lot of the deviant burials come from that period. And so it may be that a heightened sense of fear at certain categories of people who may be seen to be a threat after their deaths is something that comes when Christianity undercuts the old beliefs and people are unsure what they should believe in.
Those fears seem to have driven people to treat the Keltician skeletons with extreme brutality. In the same way, in modern Romania, cutting the heart out from a dead relative might seem to be a barbaric act. But there is another way of understanding these rituals. In Romania, they are seen as helping the Moroi.
A dead has to be dead, not undead or half dead. So they are doing him something good, not something bad. So it's about universal cosmic harmony. So the dead with the dead, the alive with the alive. So for the community it's very good, for the dead it's very good. So where is the harm for them?
Slaying a Moroi stops him from being trapped between this world and the next. It literally saves him from a fate worse than death.
The main difference between the Moroi and the vampire is that the vampire would kill to be sure that he would live ever after. Let's say the strigoi or the Moroi in the Romanian traditional culture do nothing else but signal that something is wrong with him, and he need assistance from the community to properly integrate into the other one.
Să fiți siguri, Doamne ferește, Doamne păzește, dacă aveți părinți de apărtări, mai bine îi băgați un om de acolo așa la inimă. Băgați, sigur nu se mai face Moroi, atunci vine și vă ia.
It's extraordinary how this modern folklore could be the key to understanding a deep-rooted fear that can never be explained by archaeology and science alone.
Archaeologists always have been very reluctant to use folklore, folkloric traditions as a way of explaining ideas in the past. They think, well, they may have been reinvented in the 17th, 18th, 19th centuries. Can we really get into the medieval mind? And I think there's often a lot of truth behind these folklore stories. I'm sure that as more examples are published, archaeologists will become sensitized that actually when they find stones in burials or they find nails in aberrant places and so forth, they will begin to say, maybe that's a revenant burial, and publish it. And so hopefully as awareness increases, so we'll begin to recognize that actually wasn't a very rare thing, but actually really quite common in the Middle Ages.
For archaeologist Chris Reed, the deviant burials have enriched his understanding of Ireland's mysterious medieval past.
The stone and mouth skeletons, when they were first discovered, none of us really understood the potential importance of them or significance in the wider scheme. But as time has gone on, we've all realized just how special they actually are and how unique within an Irish context.
Farmer John Burke owns the land at Kiltician, where the skeletons were found. He believes that whatever the reasons for these strange burials, bodies should now be returned to their graves and left to rest in peace.
It's a strange thing, but my dad would always have said this was a very peaceful place. For me, it's a sacred place, and it will always be a sacred place, with no particular fear or thoughts or otherwise. And in a way, I feel almost in a way responsible or a duty bound to respect the people who are buried there. Those people, they weren't brought from anywhere else. They're the local people's ancestors. And I respect that. And I think we're privileged to have this kind of site on our land.
And their skeletons played Run 1 number 120, 12 rated manner, 45 minutes, 24 seconds. Special following the discovery of potential vampire bodies in Ireland. Experts explore series of fascinating great finds and reveal our ancestors' great fear of the blood sucking of dead men, directed by Mark Fielder.
Hey. Hey. Hey, Rodrigo. Let's take it. Hey. He said he wrote, Derek said he wrote the wrong paper up. He got to do it over again. You don't get it right. Do it over. I'll tell you when you wake up. I'm going to get me some damn hot dogs or something.
He was just so surprised that he felt there over the floor. Told him to watch the video. We're not expecting this. Activate up in your Italian block. Look how it's being brought. He's a star player with a message. He's full of innocence.
Hey. Hey. Hey.
Wearing this for years and years to come.
Stuff. I'll be back then.
Enroll through channel starting screensaver.
Keeps the nerves, keeping patients calm as they battle COVID-19. These nerves are the last phase complications seen before they put on a ventilator. So now, as we just need a comfort pain, raise the music way and shows her gentle soul. Savannah is just 28. She is a travel and ICU nurse, and her crew is 40 active in full PPE gear. I remember the children after we're here. You know, we are the children, we're with them every single way. And we say, I said, we reassures the patients. She knows that they know they may never live out again, but she may be the last face they see before they meet their fate. I want to make sure that they always get to talk to them. That people can just so that wants to make sure they're all happy. The compliments that I offer to patients is something they will never forget. Savannah posts videos where she's in tears after a tough day. She was emotional. She recalled being with a patient in moments before she died. But I said, I couldn't remember the Incredible.
selling your home this spring? Now's the time. The guaranteed offer from March Real Estate Avon. Bypass the market and close in as little as 21 days. Worry about the hassle of constant paying home maintenance. The showings, no announcements, no stress. It's that simple. With a March Real Estate guaranteed offer, you receive an all-match offer. Hassle-free. Choose what you want to live with. Confidence. Go to marchpay.com and start back.
Systems and ways to be able to alongside thousands of you energized. They individualize things for you. They are so encouraging and motivating. I feel great and I'm afraid to smile. Finally today, after nearly a year in lockdown, a 4-year-old girl from Philadelphia just wants to be left alone. So she wrote a song about it. And yes, she has gone viral. That is an exciting issue for the Endeavor Normal. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Imagine unlimited hot water everywhere. You're not drinking. Our phone services can make it a reality. We can install efficient tankless water heater in your home that pays for itself in 5 years. Schedule an appointment at erphone.com today. Two scratch names on biscuits for just $2.50. It's okay.
Let me break it down for you. About half of women over the age of 50 have their dairy money. And most of these women never do anything to remedy the problem. They think it's just part of getting older. Fix Station was for all state center. They start here and produces clarity and income. This really worked for me. It changed my life. You should call today for a free consultation.
Bigger. She's still asleep.
That's true. Every traditional class started out as having engineering ideas at one.
She did it. Sleeping. Sleeping now. WWE Raw Rumble 2021.
2021 World Run 2021.
Hello, Moto. Hello, Moto. Hello, Moto. Hello, Moto.
Derek, what? Derek said, he filled out the wrong paper. He said he filled out the damn
Man, that motherfucker's nigga. Why did you just get my paper from the dude?
He said he ain't got it. He filled out the wrong one. He got they feel it out on the oil change on my
I don't know
side.
what he said, just give us next page.
I did. He said he got to do it over. He got to get his wife to do it over. So he did it the wrong way. That's what he said. All right.
Yes, I'll play this.
Hey. Good, Mr. Speaker. Yeah, he said he got to do it over. I can heat this up in the microwave. I'm bored of damn hot dog. Too much, man. My body never. What the what? Shit. Ready for the 7. Good. Hey.
Now it's dangerous, but maybe you can't help us. You think you can handle it? I don't know what's ready. Maybe. The judge has just dismissed the defendant's upcoming case. He's not done